Key point 1. Adapting to a constantly changing world. Being an excellent leader is no easy job. A tremendous amount of work goes into making an organization successful. And even after achieving success, you must preserve it. One thing that makes it so demanding is that things are constantly changing, especially true of the last 2 decades. That's why we're talking about leadership. Leadership turned into an ever-going process. Leaders must be on the lookout for changes that may affect their organizations and adapt adequately. Those who fail to make this vital shift will almost certainly fail. The thing about change is that it happens rapidly, and no one has control over it. When change is imminent, you can't stop it. You can only adjust to it before it sweeps you off your feet. Leadership, the ability and willingness to make a leadership change that would positively enhance organizational and personal growth. John C.Maxwell. Many people don't enjoy making leadership changes because they aren't sure about the results they might bring. But this is where experience comes in. You can draw upon your past expertise to know when the change you're about to make is an adaptation or an attempt to conform. The first one is good, while the latter means compliance with fear. Experience remains the best teacher. Learn to borrow from others when you don't have enough of it. Did you know? Leadership is not a dictionary word. John C. Maxwell coined it himself. It conveys that you're not loyal to processes. Once an idea stops working for you or your organization, you switch to something more effective. Key point 2. Organizational success equals personal success. The way a leader thinks is different from how an average follower operates. For non-leaders, success means achieving their goals and life mission alone. Sure enough, other people will contribute in some ways to their success, but the credit goes solely to them because it's all about their dreams. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're a leader with followers, you can't think only of yourself and your interests. Your attitude will have to change. A good leader does not climb the success ladder alone, letting their team figure out the way independently. Instead, they value collaboration and teamwork. Becoming a leader is like transitioning from a soloist to a conductor. Soloists act alone, think alone, and play their instruments as they choose. They can be successful all by themselves, but a conductor has to behave differently. They must focus on the entire orchestra and how to coordinate with the other team members to produce unique musical sounds together. When making this sort of transition, there are realities you'll have to face. For instance, you need to slow down your pace to carry others along. This decision is tough because leaders naturally have an action bias, but it's the price you must pay for corporate success. Recognize that you need others. You might be used to thinking your followers need you more than you need them. That is not true. Realize that you need your followers just as they need you. You might have imperfections they could help you with. On the other hand, you could do the same for them. They also might offer an essential perspective and bring about an increase in creativity. You need to make efforts to understand others. As noted earlier, being a leader means you stop thinking about yourself alone. That means you have to adjust to also consider the interests of your followers. You have to be intentional about this. Take a tango dance, for example. You can only lead the dance successfully by putting yourself in the follower's shoes and understanding how your actions might impact them. That's how leadership works too. Key point 3. Change your focus from smashing your goals to growing your potential. The most important personal decision you can make is to grow. Many leaders put all their energy into mastering the art of goal setting and achievement, but only a few focus on growth. Leaders who want to expand their organizations must think strategically and take calculated risks. They should analyze market trends, identify new opportunities, and assess the expansion's potential risks and benefits. Having a clear vision, setting achievable goals, and communicating them effectively to the team is crucial. Leaders should also be open to feedback and adapt their approach as needed. They must have the necessary resources and support to execute their expansion plans successfully. Constant development makes you a better person. Growth-oriented leaders don't only seek to get more clients or sell more products. That's a secondary goal. Their primary target is to create better products so consumers will come to them. You may not be in manufacturing, but this principle works in every sphere. When you focus on becoming a better person, your team improves, and your output as a group becomes more effective. Remember that everything depends on leadership. If the leader doesn't grow, the organization is stunted. The reverse is also true. Some significant shifts in moving from goals to growth include: 1. Seek inward motivation. If you base your inspiration on external factors, like what your boss would think or on the strict policies in your organization, you'll only go so far, especially in the face of challenges. But when your motivation comes from within, nothing can stop you. 2. Be specific with your growth. Refrain from simultaneously trying to grow in every area of your life. It's impossible. Pick only 2 or 3 areas and focus on developing them. Choosing just one domain for a while works best. 3. Resist the urge to have a growth timeline. Don't be impatient about development. Some people can't wait to finish a leadership course before they start it. That's the wrong attitude toward growth. See the bigger picture instead, and know that every action you take is a step in the process, not the finishing line itself. Development should be a lifelong value for you. Key point 4. Changing your focus from perks to the cost of leadership. Every leader has 2 options almost daily. With every leadership decision, they have to either focus on the perks of leadership or on adding value to the people they lead. Leadership perks are those rewards that come with the job: titles, recognition, authority, and so on. These perks are enticing to everyone. No single leader doesn't appreciate them. But you must move from concentrating on them to making people your focus. Why should you make this critical shift? It's because leadership is, first and foremost, about the people you're leading. The leaders who fail to put their followers first have already set themselves up for failure. Focusing your attention on the perks will make you the leader who misuses people for selfish gains, and it won't be long before your followers lose trust in you. As a result, you are bound to fail. If you're in the game for the long term, then there's no point rushing for the perks. Just focus your talents and energy on consistently providing massive value to your followers, and in due time, you'll start reaping your rewards, the perks and more. Leadership perks don't come to you simply because you have a leadership position. Instead, they are fruits of your leadership success. Most young leaders tend to go for the perks first. For many people, that's even their motivation for getting into leadership in the first place. But don't do that. Embrace the price for leadership. Leading people is no easy job. It's an uphill task that takes all you've got. Decide that you will walk the path to the top and not be the mediocre leader who tries to find a shortcut and loses people along the way. Staying determined as a leader is crucial because it helps to maintain focus, stay motivated, and persevere through challenges. It sets an example for team members to follow and instills confidence in their ability to achieve goals. Determination also promotes resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. Did you know? Followers always ask 3 silent questions before committing to a leader. Do you care for me? Do you deserve my trust? Can you help me? Develop strategies to ensure your leadership answers positively to these silent questions. Key point 5. Make the shift in the type of leadership you employ. Leaders are not all the same. There are trained ones and those who deal with transformation. The former only work with what they've learned from leadership training, but the latter choose to go the extra mile to use their creativity and wisdom to create change. Leadership is based on principles, so you can learn through training. But understand that leadership training is the first step in becoming a leader. When you stop at the training level, you act solely on what you've learned from books, courses, and conferences. Leadership, like most skills, requires constant evolution. Transformational leadership strives for change with the help of words and actions. You must be able to both adapt to alterations and be the one who implements them. Transformational leaders don't just act on what they've read in books. They're always ready to make changes when needed. They aren't static or stuck with a single pattern of doing things. A transformational leader in the workplace isn't as concerned about the output of employees as much as with training, motivating, and transforming their lives. Why do transformational leaders do this? Because they understand results are always inside out, not outside in. Based on this understanding, they seek to transform their employees from the inside to serve the company better. The desire to encourage others' growth is one leadership trait you should always have. Transformation starts with the leader and then overflows to the followers. So you can't expect to influence others positively when you haven't changed yourself. Therefore, committing to developing yourself is the first step to being innovative in your leadership. We've said that the way to becoming transformational in your leadership is to not depend solely on what you learn from others. Although learning from mentors and people before you is good, remember that they don't always know it all. Even if they did, your situation is unique, so not every lesson can be learned from others. Keep an open mind and be highly curious. These two traits will enable you to transform your mind and those around you. Key point 6. Leadership requires that you leave your comfort zone. Every individual falls into one of 4 different zones when it comes to being active and innovative. Here are the 4 zones, along with the attitude statements that represent them. The coasting zone. I do not go the extra mile. I do as little as possible. The comfort zone. I do what I've always done. I don't need to go through stress. The challenge zone. I go the extra mile. I take steps to do what I haven't done before. The creative zone. I strive for innovation and attempt to think what I have never thought before. Analyze your attitude. Which zone do you naturally gravitate toward? Whichever one it is, remember that you can always improve by choosing a different zone and working toward it. Of the zones listed above, the last is the best to be in because it's where you can think big and dig deeper into the knowledge of how to become better and expand your potential. If you want to make fast and tangible progress or take your leadership to higher levels, you must be ready for constant evolution. Increasing creativity and the rate of growth requires the destruction of cognitive limitations, which are seeking the correct answers. Searching for perfection is frequently futile. You need to understand when to apply creativity and find innovative solutions to any issues. Labeling things as illogical. Thinking outside the box frequently breaks the boundaries of logic. This tendency is excellent because it brings forth state-of-the-art ideas. Avoiding ambiguity. Life is complex and many things can have different meanings. The interplay of multiple senses can create unexpected, original results. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Albert Einstein. Following the rules. Most groundbreaking knowledge comes from breaking the rules. Seeing failure as bad. A mistake is not a tragedy, it's your friend, and creative people don't avoid failure. Trying to avoid being different or looking foolish. Creative and successful people stand out. Thinking you're not creative. Every human is born with the instinct to be creative. What differentiates those who become known is their persistence, ability to learn, and willingness to leave their comfort zone. Conclusion. Effective leaders understand and embrace the dynamic nature of leadership and can consequently make leader shifts when necessary. If you resist changes, you can't expect to last long in the game. This idea is why you must sustain the ability to see farther than others and act before everyone else. One powerful key to staying ahead is to become a lifelong learner. Don't let the busyness of your leadership position keep you from seeking wisdom and observing changes happening both in your industry and worldwide. A good leader must be open to change in order to adapt to shifting circumstances and take advantage of emerging opportunities. Flexibility and willingness to embrace new approaches are key traits of effective leadership. It's worth noting that great leaders don't just have followers. So somewhere in your career, your goals should shift from leading followers to building other leaders. You won't always be on the scene, and when you're out, you need people who can sustain and develop what you have built as a leader. If you fail to raise these kinds of people, your work will suffer because there will be no capable hands to maintain it. Keep this in the back of your mind as you grow in leadership. Remember that leaders are not short-term players. They are in it for the long haul. So raising successors is extremely important. Try this. If you hold the position of a leader right now, reflect on the evolution of your organization. Do you think it needs some kind of change? Maybe it's time to alter certain areas. Compile a plan of action. You can also brainstorm with your employees and ask them to come up with ideas on company evolution.